Welcome to the Bama Bo Show. I am your host, Bama Bo. Today, I finally have my brother Randy back on the show, and I have listened to you guys. So many of you have requested having him back. He's full of entertainment. He's a funny guy, but he also has great content and really cool takes on things. So, without further ado, let's kick it off with Randy.
From his t-shirt from 92 to his faded deuce, his loose tattoo. Need to ask one look, and you just knew he's crimson through and through.
Welcome back to the show, my brother Randy. How you doing, Rand?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Bama Bo?
Hey, the people want to know. The people on Twitter have spoken. They want to know if you got your weed eating finished. It has been asked a lot.
I did, but it's already grown like 3 or 4 inches with the rain we've had, so we got to make this quick. I'm running out of daylight. So, if you don't mind, let's just rush through this. I mean, who cares about college football anyway?
No,
I thought we were going to talk about some croquet or some badminton, right? Maybe we could find a sport that Auburn could win something. Not sucker everybody in thinking they're going to win something. I mean, every sport they got, they sucker you in, and then they lose at the last second. Basketball, baseball, football. Have you watched any Auburn volleyball or badminton or soccer or something? I mean, are they doing this too? Are they losing at the last second, suckering everybody in?
do they have a badminton team?
Well, they get bad in every team. So I don't know about badminton, but if they get a mitten team, they're bad at it. I mean, badminton. Come on with that name. That don't even sound like a sport, does it? Why wouldn't it call good mittens?
What a way to reel people in at the beginning of this podcast talking about badminton. I mean...
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We've probably already got 100 views or listens already. You know, just for the anticipation of awesome Tide talk.
So I was watching, I'm always looking at Twitter and seeing what, hot topics are. So we've got a couple right now, and we can go any route you want to go. My favorite one was Tua overhyped. Go ahead, Randy.
Tua overhyped?
Yeah.
By who? All I hear about is Trevor Lawrence now. Tua's, had his time come and gone. He hadn't even played the season healthy yet. The way I look at it, Trevor Lawrence had his shot last year because Tua wasn't healthy. Trevor Lawrence is going to be high on the hog, ain't he? He'll come out and everybody's going to jump on it. I heard a guy tell Feinbaum today, is it true that Trevor Lawrence is just one of those special talents that, Alabama's just not going to be able to beat him for like 4 years?
Oh!
What is this like Peyton Manning Day? We don't have a no name at the helm.
Is Tua still on the team, Randy?
Well, I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, he's on the roster, right?
Well, no. Now that Paul Tyson's come in, I doubt they might all need a transfer, according to some people.
I just love how it's like all of a sudden Tua's chopped liver. I mean, last I checked, he was pretty stinking good.
Well, I give Feinbaum a little credit. He did tell the guy, he said, yeah, I agree, Trevor Lawrence might be the best player in college football this year, but, Tua was that last year, so let's not forget he's still there. They were saying the same thing about Tua last year that they're saying about Trevor this year, so he hasn't gone anywhere, and he's older, and he's healthier, and I'm thinking that maybe Clemson's gotten into his crawl a little bit, I think he's going to turn out to be one of them kids that just don't like to lose to somebody twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saban.
Yeah. Very similar. Yeah. I could see that.
Clemson needs to just figure out a way to slip up a couple of games this year just so they don't have to fight that beast. Because it's going to be rough on them. I mean, you give this defense coming in 14 games to get ready for Clemson, and give me a break. I mean, they got Trevor Lawrence. That's it.
Well,
we got a Trevor Lawrence and all the people around him that you need to be successful. So let's see.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, he's there. I like being. I want to be the underdog for a change if it's possible. I mean, the only problem is there's only one team in all of football that we won't be favored against today, and that's Clemson. So that's a kind of a tough underdog to sell. You know what I mean?
Well, we've got all these wideouts. It seems like everybody's forgetting about it. That blows my mind. Because I know Clemson's stacked. I get it. They got Justin Ross, but we got Jerry Jeudy still on the team, and that Jalen
Blitnikoff winner. Yeah, he's just sitting over there with Calvin Ridley type talent. That's all.
and then we got Jalen Waddle. We got Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith.
Waddle's no good, is he? Waddle's like a present day David Palmer. It's like you got to get that kid on the field.
And let's not forget, Randy. What have you been saying for a year or two about Devontae Smith?
Oh, his nickname is AO, always open. It's like nobody even wants to cover him. It's like, oh, he's gonna get the ball. They're gonna throw it to Jeudy or Waddle or my favorite receiver. I think is the most talented, Ruggs.
Yeah.
I mean, he made some incredible catches last year that nobody wants to talk about or remembers, but they were something. He's a man on a mission still, So.
And meanwhile,
might be his year.
Meanwhile, you got, I mean, let's face it, these teams are going to put their best cover guys on what they think are our best players. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a real mismatch because you've got guys left like Devontae Smith, which gets a little forgotten about. And he always...
Well, when you run four guys out there that are pretty much equal, you better have four good DBs. That's tough. And, you got to decide in split second because we got, Trigger Happy back there. He can launch a missile and, pretty dang quick. Tua can snap that wrist. That's what's going to do him good in the pros because the pros don't, they like throwing the deep ball occasional bit. Look at Brady. He throws it 50 times for 50 yards sometimes. Just quick passes, and sometimes that's what you got to do when you got 9-foot brutes coming at you. Get open! Quick, get open! All right, we're gonna do what I call a quick get open quick. All right, break. Tua's. Here's what Trevor Lawrence will never have to face as long as he lives. Every team he plays looking at you like you are the New England Patriots. So that's what every team that plays Alabama, they look across that field and think, oh, my God, it's Alabama. It's like the one game they don't even have to worry about getting up for. When you see Alabama on the roster and you're getting ready to play them, it's like, giving a drug addict a line of cocaine. That's all you need. It's like, oh, Alabama, oh, my God. They play their best game. Trevor Lawrence ain't going to see no best games from nobody. Their defense, they play will barely even get up for the game because they know they're going to get killed. But when you play Bama, you might know you might get killed, but it's an honor. It's like, man, this is history right here. I got to play Alabama. Nobody's going to go, get old and talk about, man, I got to play Clemson one year. Man, I got to play Georgia. Who? Georgia. Who? Georgia. Oh, yeah, they're in the SEC too, right? That team that got killed by LSU last year. I remember Georgia. And beat by Texas and beat by somebody else. Oh, yeah, they get beat by Bama. But they're the same. They're on our level. They're right there. They got about 15, 16 more national championships to go to equal us. They got about 15, 16 more SEC titles to go to equal us.
I don't get where these media guys come from on that. They hadn't proved to me in any fashion that they're on Alabama's level.
Here's what Kirby's having to deal with. He's excited. He's got these dudes excited. all of them's friends are helping recruit, and they're getting these 5 stars, maybe 2 or 3 more each year than Bama, which is fine. Saban don't care. He lives in that 4-star realm, But Kirby's getting all these people and getting everybody excited about the program. I get it. That's great. But Mark Richt did the same thing when he came in. And here's what they got to realize at the end of the day: no matter what he pulls, no matter what kind of hardball crap he comes up with, when that Georgia player laces up and heads down that tunnel to play that game, he passes a Herschel Walker Heisman Trophy and a couple of national championship trophies from way back. One in 80 or 81 or something, and then who knows when the other one was. And so that's it. So halfway down the tunnel, they even forget what the coach said. And then Saban gives his speeches, and everybody there, no matter how awesome they are, they're humbled all the way down that tunnel because they pass so many trophies they ain't got room to put them all in the cases.
Yeah.
They pass pictures of stars that were so amazing, like Bart Starr, Joe Namath, Kenny Stabler, Derek Thomas. I mean, when you pass those pictures, you start getting real humble and go, well, you know what? I just hope to make a few tackles. That's all. And Georgia, I mean, what are they thinking? They get out there and all of a sudden, first couple of hits, boom, they're just right back to regular old football. And there's nothing to play for. There's no pride, compared to Alabama. So how would you ever get on that level? How would you ever get on a level of a team that's got several dynasties in their history? I don't get the comparison. You can tell they are built by Kirby to compete now with Auburn and LSU, sorta, and with Florida and those likes. They're not built to compete with Alabama yet. You can tell they done lost a couple of times. And, hey, those close ones, at third and fourth meeting, they probably won't be close. What's Kirby going to do if he gets beat by 2 or 3 touchdowns at the end of this year by Alabama? What's going to happen then? I mean, that's an obvious slide down a hill, isn't it?
And it's very possible.
From the Natty to the SEC championship to just the next game. It's possible. I mean, you just can't have that many games in a row where you're just that close to beating Alabama. Here's
the unfair, to me, what's the unfair comparisons with Georgia? Because think about it like this. Well, all right, what if Clemson has had the run with Dabo that Saban has had? Like, let's say he's had the run since, 2009. Let's say he's had that run all these years. And then all of a sudden, Alabama sneaks up and, almost wins and this, that, or the other, but didn't quite pull it out like these things Georgia's doing. You think people honestly would be saying Alabama's in the same league as Clemson? No.
Oh, no. No, we would have to get twice as many championships before we got considered if we had to start on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Why is Georgia getting the consideration? It makes no sense. They've not beat Alabama yet.
Because the Alabama fatigue is so great that now they're willing to just grab an SEC team, even though they're still from the South. The country's sick of the SEC, but now they just say, okay, we're just sick of Alabama then. Let's just talk about somebody else. Look, Georgia's pretty good. Yeah, they're the same as Alabama now. Or let's take what Auburn's doing. I got a good one for you. I just thought of something. I was listening to the radio, and Ben Leard, ex-Auburn quarterback, comes on and says a statement, and I listen. I'm like, okay. Because I like to write things down and then go back and fact check it,
Sure.
And just see what people are talking about. He says that Auburn is hoping for Bo Nix to have a great start, just like Jalen. All right, he might be a freshman, but he's depending on a great defense to carry him, just like Jalen was carried by a great defense, right?
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about, I keep hearing this great defense about Auburn. At least they got a great defense. Cole and all of them on the morning show. Auburn got a great defense. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to look some stuff up Number one, last year they finished 42nd in total defense. All right, now, here's the kicker. There were 7 other SEC teams that finished better. I ain't heard nobody say they're great.
No.
Kentucky was one of them. Can you imagine Kentucky having a better defense than you? And now you're considered great?
Well, and here's the thing, Ren. Okay, so they have these high expectations with Auburn because of Bo Nix, and they're talking about the defense. But here's what it takes in college football now, and Alabama has learned this. You have to have a great quarterback, and you have to have a great defense. Alabama, the year that, what was it, Jalen's first year, I do believe, where the defense did have to carry the team a whole lot, they were ranked first and second in pretty much every category on defense.
Let's compare. Alabama's got a great defense. You know why? Because in the last 10 years, they have averaged being number 4 in defense. And you know why that's number 4? Because last year they finished 15th, the worst they've done in 10 or 12 years. You know, I mean, we're talking 2, 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 3, 12, 1, 1, 15. That's defense. That's great defense. If you can go back 10 years and average number 4, I went back 10 years on Auburn. They ranked number 68, 60, 80, 81, 87, 66, 71 in 15. And then they moved up to number 7 in 16, dropped to 14, and then 42nd last year, averaged number 57, ranked average last 10 years, ranked 57th in total defense. Now, if you can find great in that, yeah, bend on over. I got to fuck her up. Because that's the definition of a non-great defensive program. I'm sorry. You know, somebody got to open their eyes on this. You can't just say something to become true. Don't lie. Sorry, Ben Leard. I had to correct you on that. Apparently you forgot to say it. You said it a little wrong. What you should have said was, you know, Bo Nix has a chance considering coming off last year, Auburn was number 7 in the SEC. So actually they're 7th greatest.
Or
7th greatest.
He could have said Bo Nix has got a chance to make Auburn better than whatever it was, like 70 something in total offense last year.
Oh yeah. He should have said, well, they got nowhere to go but up. Yeah. So that's what.
And listen, since we're still on Auburn here for a second, not to just keep hammering on those poor folks, they can't help that they're not no good. But I heard this strength of schedule stuff, and I heard someone on the radio today said that, and I don't know if this was nationally or just within the state, I didn't catch that part, but just how Auburn has a harder strength of schedule, and I guess they're referring to harder than Alabama. And I know you've got a lot to talk about on the strength of schedule, but here's what I was thinking when they said that. All right, Auburn opens with Oregon. So let's just stop right there. If Alabama opened with Oregon, what do you think Alabama would be favored by in that game?
21.
Now, let's flash forward to who else is on Auburn's schedule to make this schedule so difficult. LSU, we play them. Who else? Who else are all the common denominators here? But what Auburn,
A&M,
yep,
Ole Miss,
yep. But what Auburn don't have on their schedule, what Alabama don't have on their schedule is Alabama and Auburn does. So suddenly that makes their schedule more difficult. So I guess that's Alabama's fault somehow.
Well, it's amazing that 4 out of the top 10 hardest schedules have Alabama on them. You think that's just a coincidence?
No, and I was researching the other day, and I can't remember, Randy, if it was I know Stanford was in the top 10. I know Maryland.
They're number 1.
Okay, and I know Maryland was way up there, and I'm looking at their opponents. I can't remember which team. Maybe it was Stanford that had Notre Dame on their schedule. One of those, and don't quote me on that, but one of those had, when I looked at it, Notre Dame probably the toughest team on that schedule. What would Alabama be favored by with Notre Dame?
21.
So what that tells me is if you switched that schedule with Alabama, you think Alabama's schedule would be top 10 hardest? No.
I looked up. I mean, if you take any of the top 6 or 7 programs and switch their schedule with Alabama's doesn't change at all. Some of them it becomes even easier.
Yeah.
If you can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You switch Alabama's schedule with Clemson, and we got A&M, and that's it. And the rest of the teams would be favored by 40. Yeah, give us Ohio State's schedule. Jesus. By the time we play Michigan, so it'd be just like Auburn. Auburn be favored against Michigan today, don't you think?
Probably.
I know LSU would.
Yep.
I know LSU. You could probably take Ole Miss and beat nearly everybody. Clemson, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Texas is playing, with the exception of 1 or 2 games.
Yep.
Take Ole Miss. I put Ole Miss against anybody they play, and we have to play them every year, and they're decent. But yeah, strength. Look, here's something that these 10 hardest schedule teams have in common. They're no good, and I can prove it. All right, here's the records of 1 through 10 from last year, and this is why they're on this list, because last year they had terrible records. So this year they got a hard schedule, and they look at their last year's record. Oh yeah, they're only favored like in half of their games. It's who you're favored against. So, they can't find a team that Alabama can be not favored against. So how can they have a difficult schedule?
Yep.
It don't matter who you put on there. We're going to play Clemson 12 times? I mean, Stanford was 9-4 last year. South Carolina's next. They were 7-6. Southern Cal 5-7. Auburn, number 4, 8-5 last year. Michigan, number 5, 10-3 last year. A&M 9-4, Maryland 5-7, Florida 10-3, UCLA 3-9, and then Duke 8-5. And why is Duke on there suddenly? They had a decent schedule from last year, 8-5, but they had to put Bama on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that shot them up to the top.
So basically, these teams that are in the top 10 hardest schedules are mediocre teams.
They're mediocre teams, and the one thing they have in common that I think everybody would agree on is not one of them has a shot at being in the playoffs at the end of the year.
True.
Not one of them.
True. So
it's easy just to put them on this list and prop them up like they've done something by having a difficult schedule. No, what you've done is you've given me a list of teams that are assured of not winning anything. These are your mediocre teams. They got difficult schedules. It's not that they have difficult schedules. They're just not moving in the right direction. And these people know that.
True.
It's easy. It's a no-brainer. But I don't believe in strength schedules. It don't exist. It's just a made-up term. Give somebody something to talk about. But when you start looking at the numbers and the stats and logically, you're just grouping people together because of who they are.
And that makes perfect sense. And that's why I wanted you to talk about this strength of schedule and kind of debunk it, because you're not going to see Alabama on there as a tough strength. You're not going to see Clemson on there with a tough strength of schedule. You're not going to see the heavy hitters on there because they've got nowhere to go but down. When you're kind of at the top, it's impossible to make your schedule difficult.
We did Clemson a favor by putting them on the schedule a few years ago and played them first and killed them. And then Dabo knew exactly what he had to do from that point on. And then he got his team, built up. He did what he needed to do. He met us in the Natty. We beat him again. And he's okay, I got it. And the next year, by God, he was prepared with that senior Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. But it still took, last second play to beat us.
Yeah.
And so he knows how difficult it is. And, I think we did him a favor. And then, look, these teams love this. You think Duke is worried about getting killed by Alabama? No, it's putting them on the map. It helped Clemson. If we had not played them, they would not know what to prepare for.
True.
now he knew he had to go back to the drawing board, and he recruited and got some linemen, and he was ready to play ball. But I think Clemson had a good offensive line last year and a dang good defensive line, and they came together. And guess what? Like I said, it's easy to get up to play Bama. It's like playing God's team, you know? I mean, my God, they get the best game out of everybody they play. That's why I don't care what PUDs they put on their schedule 5 years in advance. You know, they're just taking auctions and bids at that point. Nobody wants to play them, except somebody wants some honor. We got killed by Bama, but, it was awesome. I got everybody's autograph. Man, I got my picture taken. I mean, think about it. When Mercer plays Clemson, they don't look at it like that. They go, well, we're getting 500,000, I think, play this game. And they're pretty dang good. I don't know if they're as good as Alabama, maybe. I don't know. They beat them last year, but then when they play Alabama, they go, oh, my God, I want to go to that museum, man. Did you see all them trophies in there? Jesus Christ, Nick Saban looked straight at me. I swear to God.
And they line up. They line up to shake all the players' hands and stuff and tell them thank you. Like, they're honored.
Yeah. And look, Bear Bryant had the program at that point, and now Nick's brought it back to that point. And it's just, I hear these Georgia fans talking about, oh, man, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? To me, you leave Bama coach, player, whatever, and go to another program? Man, we don't need you. He was just one of our coaches over here. He's not going to go over there and become Nick Saban. My God, Nick Saban didn't come here and become Bear Bryant. It's a totally different ball game for him. Look what he's having. He's having to play 15 games a year to win a national title, and Bear Bryant just had to play 12 to win one. And when he first started, 11. So we're talking about a guy that's got to win 4 more games a year to equal, that all. Was he got to win 1 more to tie Bear Bryant? That's a heavy statement when you consider he's got to win way more games. Bear Bryant had to win.
I'm sure you probably feel like I do too. Like, this strength of schedule crap. Who cares? I just think Alabama has to. All you can do is play the games of the people on your schedule and steamroll every one of them, and it won't matter who they were.
Yeah. Well, look, you know what? We're opening up with Duke, who was 8-5 last year. They had the same schedule as Auburn. I mean, same results. 8-5, just like Auburn. So they did, and Auburn they're saying has got a great defense. Why don't Duke have one? They were 8-5. Look, Ohio State opens up with Florida Atlantic. Let me tell you about Oregon. They were smart. They're opening up with Auburn, and then they play Nevada. Okay, well, but here's the thing. For them, it's like we can open up against Auburn. They're a tough school, and it's a test for them. If they fail the test, and now we know what we got to do to get better. We measured ourselves against the SEC's middle class, and we couldn't beat them. So we got a long way to go, guys. But if Auburn's looking at it like, holy crap, if we don't beat this team, we're going to be looked upon like, hey, we can't even beat a Pac-12 team. And they got to find out. They got to start a quarterback that's never played. If they go with Grateful Deadwood or Bo Nix, they got to go for guys green as a gourd down there with a labeled great defense, not an actual great defense. So what would Jalen Hurts have done if he'd have started the year with Auburn's defense coming off ranked 42nd instead of coming off ranked number 1?
Yeah, it'd have been tough. And that's no disrespect, but come on. Like, the thing about it is, when you're playing with an awesome defense and him coming in as a freshman, and I don't care who you are, still coming in as a freshman, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. but the defense absolutely carried that team. Absolutely.
Oh, they were scoring left and right.
They were scoring more than the offense.
I mean, there was a couple of games, they said, Jalen got to get out there and score some points, boy, or we might not win this game. This is my question. I've even heard Dunaway say this. He's real high on Bo Nix. I saw Bo Nix play in high school. What's the difference between him and Paul Tyson and Talia and all these guys that just throw for tons of yards in high school against terrible defenses, and usually they just have to have one awesome receiver, and they just throw it to him every time. I saw Paul Tyson. He would just throw 78 bombs in a game and 2 or 3 of them, for touchdowns, and you've won the game. But most of them miss. Because it's high school, they're just trying. But tell me this, in your honest opinion, is Bo Nix better than Jalen Hurts as a freshman?
I don't see how he could.
Because he's got to be, listen to me, Auburn fans, you're asking Bo Nix from Pinson Valley High School to come in and lead your team and not be as good as Jalen Hurts. Also, Bo Nix don't have Lane Kiffin. Instead he's got.
Oh Lord.
He's got his daddy over there, a high school coach. He might as well just put Patrick over there, and they can compare. But I even heard somebody comment that said, "Well, Bo is used to the system because they ran the same system at Pinson that they pretty much run at Auburn." I would hate to admit that. In public? That's humiliating. Are you kidding me? And that's not complimenting Pinson on being able to run Auburn's offense. I think it's more of a cut down on Auburn admitting that they run the same offense as Pinson. I went to Pinson Valley High School, all right? I know what kind of high school that is. They don't pump out 5 stars left and right. Bo Nix was built up and pumped up like it was the dang Manning family. This ain't Eli Manning. This is Bo Nix, son of Patrick Nix. Who? Exactly.
And do you think
Parker's got a national championship ring, on his hand, and he played, pretty close around the time Patrick Nix, right, back in the day. I can't remember when Patrick Nix played. Maybe it was a little later. But, yeah, Jay Parker's got a national championship ring, and his son's quarterback down there at Alabama, walk on, and he's really good. I watched him play at Spain Park. He's just good as the rest of these guys, maybe not quite the flair and athleticism as Bo or Talia or some of them, but he was decent, but nobody's talking about that either. Nobody's, talking about, Jay's got a son at Alabama, and he's famous. He's got a championship ring and all. But as soon as they bring up Bo Nix, they act like it's a Manning family. It's like you gotta really get deep into Wikipedia to find out who Patrick Nix is. Let's face it. Just like when I heard Ben Lear the other day, ex-Auburn quarterback, and I went, ex-Auburn quarterback? Ben Lear? Huh? When was that? And it made me realize, you know what? The only time I ever pay attention to Auburn is at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about them, except we usually beat them. And then when they beat us, they celebrate for 10 years or more.
And
usually.
Don't you think, too, I was thinking about this. If Alabama opened with Oregon, it wouldn't get near the hype the Auburn-Oregon game's going to get. Because Alabama...
By the time we played it, they'd made them into Duke.
Yeah, because Bama would be favored by so much that I don't think it would be that big a deal of a game. But all of a sudden, Auburn's schedule is hard because they open up with Oregon and because they play Bama. And that's just so ridiculous.
No, their schedule's not hard because of that. Their schedule's hard because they're mediocre.
That's right.
And all you got to do is look at their schedule. Yeah, they were 8-5, which means this year they're probably going to be about the same or worse because they're starting over at quarterback, and people know that, so they're not going to give the nod, you know, they're looking at it like, man, they got a freshman rolling out there, iffy on defense at best, coming off ranked 42nd. If you look up your stats, if you don't, you just believe the hype and say, oh, they're great, man, that great defense to get them through.
I heard a guy on the radio the other day, Rand, and he said, I thought it was so, he contradicted himself. He said the biggest thing with Auburn this year is that they're a great quarterback coming in, assuming they start Bo Nix, and a great defense. And he was basically saying that he didn't think the quarterback would be a weakness, an incoming freshman, but he's a really, really good quarterback. Then he turns around and says his biggest fear for Alabama is Tua going out hurt and having to play a freshman. I'm like, what?
Well, we don't have a freshman backup. We got was he a junior?
Yeah, exactly. They acted like Mac Jones wasn't even a part of the equation. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, see, they believe the hype. They've believed the hype, about Paul Tyson and Talia. Those boys are not going to get to play much. They're green. We got an experienced generational quarterback starting this year. He deserves all the hype he can get.
But
he really does.
Here's what I was thinking. So they're giving this hype for the incoming freshman at Auburn, but then basically saying, what's behind Tua, if he goes out, that's a little scary, but not giving the accolades to our freshmen. And I'm thinking, and rightfully so, as a Bama fan, I've seen sparks of greatness with Talia, but I would be a nervous wreck. Let's face it, he's a freshman. I would be a nervous wreck if for some reason he was inserted to a critical game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mac Jones is a very good quarterback. I think he's improved. Is he going to win a game for us? I don't know.
But how could you possibly know how good you are if you're back up to Tom Brady?
Exactly.
I mean, really, there's nothing you can do. You could put every quarterback in the nation down there and let Tua run a play, and then let them run the play, and they're just not going to look as good doing it.
No.
But they might be really, really good.
I know. I know. And it's so crazy. And before I run out of time with you, Rand, I do want to ask about, just to get into a little bit of content here, you've been really, really high on the defensive line. And I just want your thoughts, and I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but I just want your thoughts on, I've seen some tweets where people are saying they're extremely worried about the defense this year, and I'm worried about one position in particular, but it ain't the defensive line. What are your thoughts on the D-line this year?
I think the situation we're in on defense is he may have to play more, young guys than he probably would like to.
Yeah.
We got the experience with Raekwon, who, by now, he should be practicing with NFL players on the side because he just gets bored, with everything in college because he's been around so long. He should just be a teacher or something. Now, I'm ready for him to have a breakout year. He's had a long grind down there. And Terrell Lewis, if this kid can stay healthy, we don't have nothing to worry about on defense. He's the one that picked Tua off in the spring game.
On that screen pass.
Yeah, like a 10-foot pass.
Yeah.
Kind of like George Teague's pick, right in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tall and got long arms and he's vicious. And it's time to get back to that vicious defense. And I think with some of these guys we got coming in, DJ Dell, he's a beast, man.
Yep.
Oh, I talk to his uncle all the time. And he's lost weight, and he's muscular, stout, ready to take that nose position and be just a run-stopping machine. And every one of them, even the young guys that just got there, they're already talking up the Clemson talk,
I've been a big fan of Antonio Alfano.
I can't wait to see him. But see, all these guys are so young. They're just not all of them are going to get that playing time they hope for. Byron Young is coming in fitter than most, and he's he's a 4-star defensive lineman or tackle, probably the defensive end, I guess maybe. I don't know. He's got a lot to choose from, and they'll figure it out. And then don't forget Sopsher.
Yeah.
Oh, if you see his video, it was great. I think we talked about it
Yeah.
last time, but yeah, his head's in the right place. You get these kids that, they're motivated by where they're at instead of just, I just want to play a couple years ago the NFL. I mean, look, people. It seems like a few of them just really want to stay all their 4 years at Bama. Now I don't know about Tua. If he has a wonderful year, wins it all, and whatever, he'll probably come out.
Yeah, he's not
probably
coming
offer
back.
too much money.
He ain't coming back.
Yeah,
But then, what do you think about what
which
steps?
Which I tell you this, you remember last year how Jalen got so much playing time after Tua run the score up against some of these teams.
Sure.
Probably what you're going to see this year is when they do get a chance to, hammer them real good. Which, look, I'm tired of all this easy-going garbage. I'm really tired of it. No matter what Saban does, no matter what Alabama does, we get ridiculed. If we run a score up, they ran a score up. We didn't score enough. They didn't score enough.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
We can't do anything
can't
right.
You enough hard teams to play. We want Bama to win 13-12 every week. They shouldn't have any easy games. They should. Why? Why should we get all the hard games?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why can't we just play everybody? We're supposed to play. We got contracts for stuff, just like everybody else. I mean, you think Ohio State wants to play Indiana every dadgum year, or Northwestern, or Rutgers? They're stuck playing these teams.
Yeah.
I mean, and Alabama's stuck in the West, and just by some stroke of, unfortune, we got to play the toughest teams in the SEC every year because the cupcakes are in the East.
Yep.
Georgia gets to run through the cupcakes, and we got to play all the hard teams. So I don't know. It's I just want some football to start. All talk. Yeah. All this talk. I think Tua deserves a hype. I think Najee's going to come out of nowhere and be the star running back after a few games. And hopefully put to rest all these other ridiculous notions of running backs across the nation. I've heard some doozies,
It's ridiculous.
And here's the thing. That dude for Clemson that they think's, going to be so awesome as running back because he did good last year.
Etienne.
Against all them cupcakes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goofy name.
Yeah.
Anyway, Najee has got a tough uphill climb to match him because he's got to go against really good defenses, nearly every week.
Yeah.
With exception of a few.
That's really a fair point because Etienne's cruising through all these cupcakes and making a name for himself, and that's probably why some are saying, "Oh, he's the best running back." Please, if he had to face the SEC,
look at the ACC. Look at Clemson's schedule. They got one team that's even remotely challenging to them, and that's Texas A&M.
Texas A&M
from the SEC.
Yep.
So if they weren't playing them, what would their schedule look like?
I really think Texas A&M's got a shot at them. I really do.
Oh yeah, they should have beat them last year. Had them beat. So why wouldn't they have a shot? Look, every year's different, and you got to think, especially the SEC right now. Everybody's getting better. Florida's going to be a little bit better this year, so Georgia needs to look out. I'd say. Let's see, Florida, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, all these teams are on the move, and it's up. They've been at the bottom. They're sick of it. They're paying good money. They're trying to get out of the gutter. And, Georgia went through all them teams last year and beat nearly every one of them 40-20. They 40-20 them to death, right? Well, that 20 this year might be 30.
Yeah.
And then what they're going to beat them 40-30, 35-30. See, these teams are going to slowly catch up, just like the West. has caught up a little bit with Alabama and gives them tough times. LSU, Mississippi State, they all play us tough, man.
Yeah.
Well, Georgia's going to go through some of that. If they want to be the big dog over there in the East, well, they got to be prepared for Florida to come out of nowhere this year, Tennessee, South Carolina. They are all sick of losing.
Yeah.
You know, and they're recruiting too. They're working. They're practicing. You know, you can bet everybody in the SEC that plays Bama this year, they got Bama circled.
Yep.
And that's their go-to thing. And Georgia ain't circled on nobody's schedule except the ones that don't play Alabama. They got Georgia circled, you know, because they know that's the team to beat unless we're playing Bama.
Yep.
You know, Georgia's the team they got to worry about beating. Alabama's the team they got to worry about how much we're going to lose by. There's a big difference. Big difference. Nobody's ever going to look across at Georgia and go, "Oh my God, what an honor!" You know. They're just going to say, well, we got a shot because LSU killed them, right, last year. So
That's right. That's right. And so basically to sum this up, just kind of getting back to this whole schedule stuff, you know, you look at the teams that have the hardest schedules you are dead on, they're mediocre teams. And
give Alabama all them schedules and the top 10 hardest home. You talking about turning that schedule into a joke?
Well, yeah, there was one of them, and I can't remember which team it was in that top 10 hardest schedule. And there was one of them, and the hardest game they had on that schedule was Notre Dame. You give Alabama that schedule, we'd be favored by a crap.
That's for Stanford.
Yeah, you'd be favored by a crap ton with Notre Dame. It would be a joke of a schedule.
Look, this is all they need to say, okay? They need to just admit that strength of schedule is just a made-up garbage term to give media people something to talk about, to give them a way to rank people that really don't need to be ranked in any kind of way. You know, if you got a hard schedule, it equals you're no good.
Yes.
Plain and simple. All right, okay, let's talk about this real quick. Tim Brando told Paul Feinbaum that Alabama's schedule is reprehensible. Reprehensible. But yet, if you give Alabama Notre Dame's schedule, what does it become? It becomes below reprehensible. If you give Alabama Texas schedule, oh my God, give Alabama Ohio State schedule, they get kicked out of college football. They'd be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it's just ridiculous. And all they're talking about is our 4 out-of-conference teams every dadgum year. Well, we can't kill ourselves enough with all this SEC grind that they want us to play 4 more, you know, really tough marquee teams.
Yes.
You know, we can't do that. And it don't make any sense to even make the argument. It's just something to make fun of Alabama about. But look, when Tim Brando says their schedule's reprehensible, Tim, your team LSU is on that schedule. And when you say that, you're not cutting down Alabama's team. You're just cutting down Alabama's directors or planners who are planning years in advance these schedules, who have no idea who's going to be any good or not. But what you are saying is that your team LSU is pure garbage because they're on my schedule. They're on Bama's schedule. If you don't think they're pure garbage, then quit calling the teams that we play, all 12 of them, reprehensible. That's 12 teams, I'm sure, that don't like to be called that. You know? It's not a cut down to Alabama. It's a compliment. When you say, man, they got an easy schedule, that means that, hey, we're good. We're awesome.
Fair point.
We're fantastic.
Fair point.
You know, I'm sorry, it's the way it is. It's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do to change it except get better and compete. You know, if Auburn goes 11-1, 12-0, 15-0, 2 or 3 years in a row, they're going to start saying, man, Auburn's got an easy schedule this year. It's because they'll be favorites in every one of them.
Yeah.
But right now, coming off of 8-5, they're not going to be favored against nobody because they got a freshman quarterback and one person returning on defense that anybody has ever heard of. And so when you know that, when the media knows that, they're going to put them down. Oh, man, they got the fourth most difficult schedule in the history of college football. You know? Because they come off of an 8-5. I'm sorry. South Carolina, they're the only ones that need to be mentioned having a hard schedule. It's disgusting. Okay? They come off 7-6 last year. And they got to play Clemson and Alabama.
Yeah, it's rough.
In the same year.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody else can say that, wait, A&M can.
Texas A&M can.
Yeah, so think about that. Those two teams, man, they're both pushing upward. Of course, you know, Jimbo Fisher's he's gonna have a good team if he stays there long enough. You know, and he almost beat Clemson last year.
Yep.
And you know he's going to come close to Bama here after Tua's gone. So, yeah, anybody that has played the two teams that just played for the Natty, if you got to play them both the next year, you just need to be mentioned all by yourself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams out there that's got some tough schedules, but the only one we're going to talk about is this joker here has to play Clemson and Alabama. How do you prepare for that? You just go ahead and put an L. Go ahead and put 2 L's there. Best we can do is 10-2, 12-2. I mean, yeah. 10-2, maybe 11-2 with a bowl game. Yeah, that's the best we can do. Unless you get stuck with Alabama or Clemson again in one of them bowl games.
God.
Imagine that schedule.
That would be
it's all relative. It's all relative, and if you just use a little logic, you can figure out that the strength of schedule is a myth. It is as real as Sasquatch. Put it that way. Yeah, it's as real as the Loch Ness Monster. Strength of schedule. Yeah, don't exist. You can't have a strong schedule and be really good at the same time. Okay? It can't happen. It's not possible.
And I think that's a good place to end right there. That's a mic drop because it's true.
There you go.
That's what I was saying when I wanted to get you back on to explain that because it is true. And I know you've researched the crap out of it. And it is, I mean, it's true. If you're a really, really good team, your strength of schedule drops.
Yeah, just like I said, give Alabama all 10 of those schedules, the hardest ones, and only 2 of them do anything. The ones that 2 people play Clemson on there, you know. So you put Clemson on our schedule, which, you know, I mean, who's to say that Duke won't be fantastic 4 or 5 years from now? You know, just like Clemson did.
Yeah, you don't know.
I mean, we killed Florida State a couple of years ago. Well, what if they start trending upward again? You could say, well, you know, they look back and, you know, I don't think they're looking back and, you know, worried about Clemson. So, you know, anybody that plays Alabama, it's just a different experience, you know. It's like, this guy's a master at what he does.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, think what it takes for Alabama's players to get up for a game. You know, nobody excites them.
Yeah.
You know, but the team they're playing, they look over there and it's like they're playing Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, they're going ape over there and losing their lunch, thinking, oh my God, we finally got to play Alabama. I've been waiting 10 years for this. You know. So yeah, that's
true.
why there's no such thing as strength schedule. You know, these teams get paid and there's contracts, and it's preposterous for us to talk about it knowing that goes on.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I know.
Why are we even arguing about it when it's all politics? It's insane.
Very
it's like
true.
saying, well, I don't think this playoff system works worth a dang. Oh, really? Well, you got no say in it. Somebody else decided that. Sorry. I don't agree with these 7 days a week. We should have 8, 9 days a week. This is ridiculous. Well, I'm sorry. Somebody else came up with that, boss. You know, that's just what we got. Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm sure
Lord.
if we go to an 8 playoff system, I'm sure some them first couple of games are going to be riveting. Playoff, and they stick Maryland in there or Indiana.
What's funny about that, and I know we need to go because you got that weed eating to do and all. But I was thinking,
it's getting dark.
Yeah. So but here's my pet peeve with the 8-team playoff is that right now there's really ever only 3 teams worthy of being in the 4-team playoff.
They have to have a dang lottery for the 4th one.
Yeah, every year there has been a 4th one that had no business there. Every year.
Well,
it's insane.
I know it.
All right. Well, hey, it's been fun as always, Rand. Come back again. And the people loved you. They loved you. So I was glad to have you back on again. But too, that was the main reason I wanted to have you on is just to talk about this strength of schedule because it's so cool. So come back again, and we'll.
Hey, it's tough following after George Teague, by the way.
Oh,
I appreciate that. I just watched that. I just listened to some of that again today, by the way.
Oh, that was a great interview. Oh, it was a great interview.
He's man.
I was
one of my all-time favorites for sure. If you talk to him, tell him if it wasn't for Cornelius Bennett, D. Cleat, and Burline one year for Notre Dame, he might be my all-time favorite defensive player.
He was amazing.
I was at that game.
He was an amazing player, and not only that, but just an amazing interview. God, that was so much fun.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was one of the best ones I've ever heard.
Oh, it was fantastic. So, yeah, I'll get you back on, Rand, and I'll let you go. Okay. I'll let you go wait eat. So I've enjoyed it, and have a great night, and we'll holler later.
All right. Bama Bo, Brahma Bro out.
Peace out, man. I'd like to thank Randy for coming on the show. He's just a hoot. And, he's just one of these guys that just likes to have a little fun with it, likes to make people laugh a little bit and see other perspectives. And I admire that. I love that quality because he's just going to tell you how he feels. He don't make any bones about it. And he likes to joke while he's doing it. And he just really provides some really cool content. So, gotta love that. So, special thanks to Randy for coming on the show. Also, I'd like to thank Soul Street Coffee, the coffee of the Bama Bo Show. You can find them on Twitter. It's at SoulST Coffee. Give them a follow. Their website is on there. Go to it and get you some coffee. It's really good stuff, and you'll thank me later. A special thanks to Title Towel, the towel of the Bama Bo Show. You can look them up on Twitter as well, at Title Towel. Same thing. Go to their website. Order you some Bama gear. They got some great stuff. Super affordable. Couldn't appreciate them more for helping me out. Also, a very special thanks to Darren Duke for lending me his song for the show. You can find Darren on iTunes. You can find him on YouTube. It's Cap Indito, CAPNDEO. Give him a follow there. He's got a lot of cool music. Loves Alabama. And also, a special thanks to you guys for listening to the show and really hanging with me because the show is growing. I'm going to have more football players. I'm going to have more big guests. So, super excited about how far this show's going to go, all the things that we have in store. So, also, check out my website, The Bama Bo. You can find everything on there, too. Just look up thebamabo.com, and it'll take you to everything that I've got going on. So, I'd really appreciate it. Check it out. You can find me on Twitter at BamaBo17. Also, you can find me on SoundCloud, Periscope, YouTube, Bama Bo, one word. But again, all of those things are on the website. So go there so you can find it super easy to navigate. Couldn't appreciate you guys more for hanging in with me. So, until next time, roll tide and peace out.
He's Crimson through and through. Went south for game 2, the rematch against LSU for the battle on the bayou in New Orleans. Now listen, fans man showed up from miles around to watch a freight train mow a honey badger down to a familiar sound in that Cajun town.